up the words as I go because it's Friday and I don't care. Hope you guys had a good week. Let's do this. Huh? Let's go. Like, share, subscribe. 3, 2, 1. Yo. What's going on? Hey. How you doing? We got a lot to cover on this one. I'm pretty excited. This is we got some news this morning that could impact college football moving forward. It's being reported everywhere. About an hour ago, PFF's covering it. Number of different. Just name a random college football or a sports Twitter handle. It's all over the place. It's all over the place. So we'll get to that in just a second. Michael Kerper says, Happy Hagen-Smith Day. That's right, baby. It's game day. Friday game day. That's the best day. Normally, I would be really excited for the weekend. Unfortunately, basketball's kind of raining. It's raining on our parade a little bit. Basketball, not so great. Not so great. We're gonna discuss what's going on there too, or at least what we expect. So again, one more time: like, share, subscribe if you're new here. We went live at 11:30 on Friday, the 1st of March, and let's get into it. Let's just kick the tires and light the fires. Let's start off with Grayson Wilson. Grayson Wilson, who's the Razorback quarterback commit for the 2025 class. He got his 4th star. Congratulations. Wilson committed to Arkansas April 15th, 2023. He was unranked at the time and had few offers and was actively recruited by then Hog offensive coordinator Dan Enos and now current Hog offensive coordinator Bobby Petrino, who's still very much active in Wilson's recruiting. Just because they're committed doesn't mean you're done recruiting them. As a junior, Wilson threw for 3,400-plus yards, 41 touchdowns, just 2 picks. He rushed for 837 yards and 15 touchdowns. This guy's, pretty good numbers. Wilson's accuracy has jumped tremendously from his sophomore to junior season. His sophomore season, he threw 58%. 58% for a sophomore. Okay. His junior season, it jumps up to 68%. It's a pretty good jump. He's now the 5th highest rated dual threat quarterback in the country, according to Rivals.com. All right, if you guys have any questions or comments, feel free to fire away. I will answer them as best I can, or I'll try to read your comments. But yeah, this is a big one. Wilson's a big-time commit for the Razorbacks. Again, Dan Enos was a part of his recruitment early on for the very brief time that Enos was here. He's hung around. He stayed committed. From what I understand, it sounds like him and Bobby are good. They're good to go. You know how this works. You know, December comes around. You never know where these kids are going to sign. So a whole lot of things. We just got a lot of we have a ways to go. But it's nice to have a guy like that on board. It's good. It's good to have someone like that on board. In a part of that 2025 class. So, yeah. Razorback baseball this weekend. They've got their hands full. I don't think Murray State. I'm not saying Arkansas. Yeah, I mean, of course, I would take Arkansas to win all of these games, at the very least to win the series. Murray State might be a tougher opponent than we realize. They are the Racers. 2023, they went 31-28 overall, 14-13 in the Missouri Valley Conference. They finished their postseason in the MVC tournament. So obviously they didn't get to go any further. The Razorbacks are 5-0 all-time against the Racers. DVH, Dave Van Horn, is 3-0 against Murray State. So that's on the line. Can you continue to be, to keep that win streak alive? Not losing to these guys, but who really cares? What matters is winning the series. And, yeah, you'd love a sweep here. But anytime you take a series, that's what matters. Game 1, we're expected, of course, the lefty Hagen Smith. Don't let the ERA fool you. 3.86 ERA, 7 innings pitched, only 19 Ks, 3 walks. They're going to start off the projected starters, Jacob Pennington, who's also a lefty. He's 1-0 with an all-0 ERA in 7 innings pitched, by the way, 9 strikeouts, 0 walks. So apparently this guy just throws strikes, Jacob Pennington does. Game 2, now again, game 1 is today at 3 o'clock. Game 2, of course, we're expecting Brady Tigert, who's currently 1-0 with a .82 ERA, 11 innings pitched, 10 strikeouts, 4 walks. Most likely going to take on a right-handed pitcher in Cade Vernon, who's also 1-0, but he's got a 6.52 ERA. He's pitched 9.2 innings. He also has 10 Ks and with 3 walks. Game 3, Mesa Molina. Back-to-back right-handed pitchers for Arkansas to start off, who's 1-0 with a 2.08 ERA. He's pitched 8.2 innings, and he can throw strikes as well. And more than likely, Arkansas will take on Ryan Fender with a 3.52 ERA. All right. Again, please make sure you like, share, and if you are new here, hit the subscribe button. We got a long season ahead of us with baseball, but Murray State is someone I think right now you're going to take everybody seriously, but these guys, they're pretty salty. Their batting average as a team is .319, which is good enough, close to top 40 in the country. Now, that doesn't mean a damn thing. That doesn't mean a damn thing. Murray State, I think who'd they play? They played Louisiana Monroe. I think was their first series of the year. I think if I'm not mistaken, they are 6-2. I just had them up in front of me. But yeah, they're hitting the ball pretty well as a team. Let me pull them up. I know they're 6-2. No, they played. That's right. They played Purdue Fort Wayne, where they scored 28 runs in their first 2 games, and then they had the sweep there, 5-2 game 3 against Purdue Fort Wayne. They lost to Southeast Missouri State. We all know how them damn Southern Missouri teams can be. Louisiana Monroe, they took 2 out of 3 against them, so they played 2 series. Their only loss, by the way, they lost 12-10. Then they won game 3, 11-5. They just beat North Alabama 8-1. So again, they're hitting the ball really well. That's their team batting average, .319. Arkansas's team batting average is .287, which again is not bad. Anytime you're above .280, like if you're in conference play and you're batting about .290 or .285 or higher, like you're doing okay at the plate, right? Murray State, I was looking at Missouri State. Murray State, their team ERA is tied for 39th in the country, so they're top 40 in both these categories or close to it. They're 3.73 there. So, again, in Arkansas, who's, by the way, Arkansas's 12th of the country, no surprise there. They could end up, we'll see. Missouri State's got bats. We'll see where their ERA is at next week. Arkansas's right now 12th of the country with a 2.70 ERA. A couple of players to keep an eye on, or one player for sure, Carson Garner. He's hitting .440 with an on-base percentage of .632. This is going to be a fascinating matchup, man. Murray State could give you a lot, or you know what? They could just be, they haven't really played anybody. At least Arkansas has played a couple decent teams, a couple decent clubs. You can't really say the same about them, and this is, of course, SEC, but you never know. In baseball, it's like basketball. You You don't overlook anybody. And hell, even Razorback football these days, you don't overlook anybody. I don't have to tell you guys that. What I would like to see this weekend, so Murray State's got a couple of good bats in their lineup. I would love to see Arkansas pitching continue to show the world of college baseball what the hype is all about versus a decent hitting club. I think most people get it, especially when you've got a top 15, top 20 ERA. You know, but it's still so early that numbers don't really matter. And no matter what you do this weekend, all that matters are wins and losses. But at least for the real college baseball fans who keep track of everything going on, and you know that's happening in the SEC. There's a lot of diehard fans in this conference and obviously in the state of Arkansas. Continue to show us what the hype is all about with your bullpen. Let's figure out what's going on at the closer. Like do you have a couple of closers you can rely on? What's middle relief? How well can they continue this trend that they're on right now? And we know this thing, it ebbs and flows as the year goes on. Your pitching could have a couple of bad weekends. It's absolutely, baseball's a weird sport. And then all of a sudden your bats are on fire, but you can't throw strikes. Or maybe your ace is the only guy getting it done, and then everybody else just starts, they get inside their heads a little too much. They're not getting it done on the mound. You're making mistakes, you're getting errors. All of a sudden you're looking back on your stat sheet and you're seeing 2 errors a game. DVH is known for infield. He's known for fielding. That's what his teams are all about, decent pitching with pretty average hitting and sometimes above average hitting. The emphasis, I think, for DVH, especially recently, it's been about building a respectable SEC, a highly respectable SEC bullpen. And your starters, all 3 of these starters, whether it's Molina on day 3, Tigert. By the way, Tigert's got a really high ceiling, and we've seen that a little bit this year. And of course, Hagen Smith, potential high MLB draft pick. Brady could be as well. He's not a lefty though, like Hagen. So, yeah, I want to see that, and I do want to see them carry over, and this is what DVH's teams have struggled to do, and a lot of teams do. It's a midweek game that where you beat someone with 21, you have 21 runs, you're hitting the ball left and right. It's a midweek game against a midweek opponent that you're doing that against. That's hard to carry over into the weekend. Things change. Obviously, your bullpen and how you manage your pitching changes, but your lineup's going to change. Who's lead off? Like how is this going to unfold in the lineup? So these are some things I'm curious about. But I would love to see that hitting trend continue into this weekend against what I think could be a decent Murray State bullpen. Game 1 is at 3 p.m. You're gonna have to catch it on the ESPN app, or if you're on PC. What I do is I like to listen. I'll either listen to Phil and Bubba, or I'll have the game on where I can actually watch it. And I'm sitting here kind of doing 2 or 3 things at once. Sometimes playing Helldivers with the game on in the background. Yeah, I'm still on the Helldivers 2 craze, and you should be too. Helldivers 2. If you got a PS5 or a decent PC, you need to play Helldivers 2 for the love of God. It's so good. I'm going to continue bringing it up every show. I'm going to find a way. In the post game tomorrow, I'm going to have the logo somewhere. I better not. They might come after me. Anyways, I would love to see them sweep. I think some people get wrapped up in that a little bit too much. You never know what you're up against. Mid-majors or low P5 schools, whatever. You never know what you're up against. It's harder to do. It's not like football where it used to be a given for Arkansas versus non-conference opponents, no matter where they're from, but that's been forever ago now. Houston Nutt, Bobby Petrino era, it's like you knew, okay, well, yeah, they're going to go 4-0 in their non-con games. It doesn't help, too, that it's a little bit more predictable in football than it is in basketball or baseball. But anyways, I don't have that. You got to turn off the football mindset. This is baseball. Any damn thing can happen. We'll have to wait and see. What's the temperature going to be like today? Let's look that up really quick. Right now, it's 49 degrees according to Apple. It's supposed to be a high of 58. So by 3 o'clock, we'll see now. Yeah, by 3 o'clock, we're looking at high 50s. maybe low 60s here in the next 3 or so hours. Saturday, it's supposed to be beautiful. Like ideal baseball weather, 72 degrees. And then Sunday, it's going to be high 70s. Nah, that's getting a little bit too warm for me. I like colder temperatures. I don't care if we're talking sports or not. Mid-50s, not a cloud in the sky, sun out, maybe a slight breeze, mid to high 50s. That's perfect weather for me. All right? That's perfect for me. But for sports, for baseball, this is good weather this weekend. It looks like all sunshine. So, yeah. Grayson, what's up, Eagle? How you doing, man? Grayson rated number 6 now. Well, I saw number 5. I mean, I'm not going to split hairs, but I saw number 5, Azazian, and maybe he's number 6, whatever. We're kind of splitting hairs at that point. Shout out to our sponsors, Direct Service Overhead, the Garage Door Company. They offer same-day services, quality parts, affordable outcomes. They're the best in the business. Hundreds of 5-star reviews say so, and me too. I'm a customer. Emergency service 24/7, 365 days a year. And again, they'll come out and look at your door for you for free. Give them a call, 501-244-3667. Again, that's Direct Service Overhead, the Garage Door Company. And, of course, the Odd Soul Craft Bar and Pizzeria. Their menu is available in our Discord, by the way. Great food, great environment, quality drinks on tap, local IPAs. They've got it. We got pictures, too, of their pizzas, of their pies, of their bar. It's really cool. The Odd Soul Craft Bar and Pizzeria located on Emma Street in Springdale. It's a staple. Go find out why. Tell them Tuss Talk with Ty sent you. Oh, boy. The breaking news this morning. I first read this from, where did this come from? This is actually pretty big. I don't know when they expect. So they've got to vote on this stuff. But Ross Dillinger, who works for Yahoo Sports, he put out a tweet a little while ago, 9:48. Okay, so it was about 10 o'clock, close to 10 a.m. After meetings this week, college leaders are expected to finalize on Friday recommendations to adopt the long-expected player-to-coach helmet comms system. You know, it's what they do in the league. The use of tablets on the sidelines / halftime and a 2-minute warning. I would expect those changes to probably take place in 2025, assuming these all pass. And I think they probably will. The only one I think that's least likely, well, I don't know. I would say the 2-minute. I'm not going to lie to you. I hate the 2-minute warning in the NFL. I don't like it at all. I say if you're going to do anything, let's just change it up. Let's change it up. Instead of getting 6 timeouts, 3 in the first, I mean, you know how this works, 3 in the first, 3 in the second. Why don't you just give them 5 total timeouts and what you do carries over into the second half? I don't know. Is that a bad idea? You guys tell me. If you're really wanting to change, you know, if you're wanting to go to the 2 timeout thing and then, of course, you have to factor in how challenges work. I don't know. I don't want the 2-minute. I would almost rather them go to like a 5 total timeout rule. You lose 1 total timeout, but you get as many. You get those 5. You can use them all in the first. You can use them all in the second. But you think about that, like strategy-wise. You have to think about how you're going to manage how this game could unfold in the second half, and you got to think about your timeout. I'm just saying, you guys tell me. Ty, I like your idea better than the 2-minute warning, or maybe you like the 2-minute warning. I hate the 2-minute warning. I hate it. I've never been a fan of it. I hate it when I'm playing Madden. I hate it when I get the opportunity to watch the Rams or any NFL game. I'm not a fan of the 2-minute warning. You get it, like the strategy involved, and coaches have to utilize the 2-minute warning. I don't like it. Michael Kerper says he's for it. Which one? What are you for, Michael? Which one? But yeah, that is the I do like the player to coach helmet comm system. I do like that. And I like that. It'd be awesome if they passed it for this year. I don't know. Maybe they could get it in this year. It seems like anything they vote on this year, especially right before spring camp, feels like that's going to carry over the next season, not this season. Could you imagine the helmet or the coach to helmet comms? And I don't know if that works, if the coordinators can be in on that, if there's more than one person in on the call. I don't really know how that part works, but wouldn't that be that'd be something. Bobby Petrino in your helmet. Now, there might be a few swear words in there, but I don't know. I think it'd be a big advantage for a guy like Bobby Petrino and his quarterback room. There's our word, the triggering word, room, quarterback room. Michael says he likes the 5 timeouts total. I do that. Do that instead of the 2-minute warning, or just don't do anything. I don't like 2-minute warnings. There is something to be said about, of course, the pageantry of college football, all the things that make college football great. And I would argue that not having a 2-minute warning probably isn't one of those things that you would put in that pile. Who really cares? But to me, it kind of does, because it can be a big advantage. And there's strategy involved. But I think, I don't know. I was thinking about this when I saw that. Like, why not just go to a carryover timeout thing where you have 5 timeouts and that's it throughout the whole course of the game? So that's now being reported everywhere. Everyone's talking about it. So, yeah. Hey, you guys, I want to say a special shout-out to all you fine Patreon supporters. If you want to join in, I've got I'm going to show you the cards. The Patreon supporters have already seen the cards. Oh, I've got them locked up. Here's the cards that are going to be available. If you've got to be a Patreon member, well, it's probably too late now. It's March 1st, so yeah. But if you were a Patreon member last month, this is what you're getting in on. Patreon $4 members are going to be eligible for one of these 2 bad boys, Lou Holtz or Joe Ferguson. That'll be for the green folks, the $4 Patreon supporters. You could possibly win one of those 2 cards from the former Arkansas players. The $8 folks, right here. Treylon Burks. This is not autographed. Again, another former Arkansas player. It's his chrome rookie card. That's for the $8 folks. And then for the legendary status folks, this is the $20 and up. Here's the autograph. Boom. If you're a Cowboy fan, that's Felix Jones autographed. This is a jersey he did wear. Oh, man, I need glasses. Let me read this for you. The enclosed piece of material were cut from authentic items personally worn / used by Felix Jones on May 17th at the 2008 NFL Players Rookie Premiere. The authentic event-worn used items were obtained and are guaranteed by Don Russ Playoff LP. There it is again. If you're a Cowboy fan, or maybe you know a Cowboy fan, you got a shot if you're a legendary status member at that card. You might still be able to be accounted for if you sign up now. Don't quote me on that. I don't know. Patreon's weird. I swear I've seen someone sign up on the first day of the following month and still be accounted for the previous month. So I don't know. You can give it a try. But guess what? We're doing a really special giveaway next month, and I'll give you guys the heads up on that, of course. But that's where we're at on those. Again, if you're a Patreon member, you got this video. When did I upload that? A couple days ago. All right. So there you have it. Those are I also found, I do have added to the collection, I found these cards. I've got Ken Hamlin, and I found my Jason Peters. So I can add those to the collection. I was wondering where these were at. I don't know where. I just lost my Ken Hamlin again, didn't I? Anyways. Nick says, do you think we can get to a bowl game? Yeah, I mean, I prefer not to say, even after spring camp. I'm just not really into for me, myself, making a way too early prediction because the portal has changed everything. The ability to predict the season and come within at least a game or two is the hardest it's ever been. Obviously, last year, I think a lot of you said Arkansas would win. I think a lot of you said between 7 and 8. I know there were a couple of you who thought they wouldn't even make a bowl game. I had them had 9 wins, and we saw what unfolded. It is harder than ever to make a prediction. Are they capable of making a bowl game? I'll answer that in a later video. I'll say that. And again, we got spring camp. They're supposed to report next week. I'm really excited about that. Jason Peters, my dad's name, LOL. Yeah, he's one of the most successful pro hogs of all time. He is. When you think about it, I mean, long time in the league. He's a multi-year Pro Bowl guy. All right, Arkansas basketball. Oh, boy. I know. Does Arkansas lose out? Let me that's the poll question. I wanted to wait to give this to you guys, but it's probably an easy answer, but it is what it is. Maybe some of you think otherwise. Does Arkansas basketball lose out? Yes or no? There's the poll. Razorback Rock says we beat LSU, I think. What's going on, Kelly Williams? How you doing, man? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Again, make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe. I would vote on the side of I think anything can happen. Of course, I'm going to always say that. Anything can happen. But I'm leaning heavily towards they lose out. At Kentucky tomorrow at 12:30 on CBS. Yeah, Musselman has success in Rupp Arena. I just – you don't know what the hell team's going to show up against anybody. I mean, they are starting to get guys back. I thought we were going to get Graham back against Vanderbilt. Kind of felt like we would. I knew Brazil's minutes would increase. I'm liking what I'm seeing out of a couple of guys, but I don't know. I'm just – it does seem like there's no hope for this team. I think they go 0-3. Which, would be a really bad record. That's 5-13 in SEC play. 5-13. Who would have thought? Who the hell would have thought? Here we are. I mean, you heard Blake Lovell. If you watched that interview, go watch it. On Monday, we did the interview with Blake. And, there's just – listen, the Vanderbilt game was probably, even for the – diehard Razorback basketball fans, you know, the people who still hang around and watch the games, those folks, maybe there's a few of you in here, you still listen to the broadcast, you still watch the games. I think that was the straw that broke the camel's back for you. You just had no business losing to a pitiful Vanderbilt team. And you gave them their third conference win and their first road conference win, and it just kind of goes to show you what this year's been like for Arkansas basketball. I don't think there's any hope at all. There's no chance. Obviously, it's a foregone conclusion. They're not going to the NCAA tournament. They're 5-10 right now, 14-14 overall. They are in a two-way tie with Georgia with that overall conference record, taking on Kentucky, who has been a very difficult team to gauge this year. 20-8 overall. They are 10-5. In conference play. Yeah, I think Kentucky probably – I mean, listen, again, you don't know what the hell team's going to show up at all, especially when it's against Kentucky inside Rupp Arena. But I just feel like Kentucky – I don't know. Maybe Arkansas shows some fight, which they have a lot this year. And I've seen Kentucky struggle with teams that punch them in the mouth. Mentally, they seem a little – I don't want to say they let go of the rope, but at times I've seen them kind of, if they get punched in the mouth, you know, it could be an advantage, because I think that's one of the things that's, I don't know if I'd say stood out for Kentucky as a negative, but I have seen it. And Kentucky just not super, I don't know. I'm not, yeah, they're 16th in the country. They're ranked inside the top 20. They're far better than their record. I would say they're better than their record indicates. I will say that. I just don't know that they're a real deep tournament team, but who knows? LSU at home is probably the one that, yeah, I would agree. If you had to pick one that they could win, it would probably be LSU. And then they got to finish the season out on the road against Alabama, against Nate Oates and the Crimson Tide. So these games, again, Kentucky on CBS tomorrow at 12:30. LSU to Monday. What is the date on that? I don't have it in front of me. It's Wednesday, isn't it? I had baseball pulled up, not basketball. Tells you where I'm at. Wednesday, 6 p.m. Thank God it's not an 8 p.m. tip-off. Thank you, Lord. And then they're going to finish out the regular season in Tuscaloosa, March 9th, against the Crimson Tide, 11 a.m. Look at that. No more super late games. And then the SEC tournament will start March 13th. Jason Fountain says, wouldn't surprise me if they won the SEC tournament. Never know what you're going to get. Life is like a box of chocolates. I rewatched our tournament win against Gonzaga last night. How did we fall so far, so fast? Portal. Transfer portal. A collage of post-game presser thumbnails would truly tell a story, or like one of those old school flip cartoon books. I put blood on one. It was the Tennessee game, and I think that's the one that got flagged on Facebook by somebody. I don't know. Listen, I've got some people that do not like me, that despise me, and maybe that's who they saw an opportunity, and I'm pretty sure that was the video that they saw an opportunity, they took it, they reported it. But yeah, part of me wishes I'd done that on every one of these losses, especially the blowout losses. Bloodbaths, man. That's all this year. It feels like that's all we've seen this year. So on basketball, staying here for just a second, and maybe a little bit more beyond basketball. What's next? Whatever happens in the offseason between Eric Musselman and the U of A, all eyes are on Hunter Yurachek from here on out. Not to fire anybody. We know that this isn't him trying to fire Eric Musselman, at least as far as I know. This is obviously about Muss possibly taking an opportunity elsewhere. But it's how Hunter Yurachek, how well he navigates the situation with the University of Arkansas basketball program. Make no mistake, no matter what happens, Muss returning or having to go find someone else, someone new to be the head coach, this will have a heavy impact on at least the optics of the Arkansas athletic director. Because let's not forget, he still has a football program that's currently in a downwards trend to attend to, unless Sam and his staff can turn it around in 2024. NIL is still a major question. Arkansas has had a whether it's fans or whatever, talk poorly upon the NIL and how it's kind of been handled or mishandled, however you look at it. All of these things are currently on Yurachek's plate. How he reacts, how he manages all of these heavy hitter tasks that are asked of every athletic director across the land are on his doorstep all at once. He's got to land the plane smoothly on these issues, or they could pile up, forcing the powers that be to eventually respond. Now, to what manner? I don't know. Maybe that just means they call him in and be like, hey, you got to do better. Maybe a slap on the wrist. Maybe he doesn't get the kind of extension he wants. Or, and I don't think this will happen. I think this is the least likely thing to happen. But maybe a couple of years down the road, if all three of these things, if football hasn't turned it around, if Muss does leave, that's the situation that's going to call. Pittman and Muss are his two, like the things that are going to draw immediate reaction from fans. These are the two things. Of course, NIL matters a hell of a lot, and I would argue it might matter more. It might be the number one thing because That's the only way you're beating team. That's the oil into the refinery. That's the oil now. It used to just be recruiting. Now it's about bringing recruits here. But these two things, handling the Pittman and Musselman coaching situations, are huge. And he's likely going to have to. We know one of the two. His hand is gonna be forced one way or another. So how he responds to all of it, how he handles it all, it's gonna say a lot about him. Again, I am not at all. I think some people think I'm calling for him to be fired. I'm not at all. I think the job that he did with, Musselman, I don't know that he expected Musselman to do what he did, but I think he saw someone in Musselman. He saw something, especially with the background that Musselman has with the G League and the NBA, and with everything that was around the corner for college athletics. I think he felt pretty good about what Muss was capable of, at the very least. I mean, that was his job, right? That's what he was supposed to do. You can't tell me he just put a blindfold on, had a dartboard and threw a dart at some names and just, whatever. Hopefully he landed on somebody that wouldn't turn him down. And he got Muss, and Muss out the gate was a firecracker. I thought Pittman in the beginning, obviously, I think we all felt like, wow, okay. Pittman's proven a lot of people wrong. I called him an in-between hire. I said he wasn't my first choice. I would have taken Lane Kiffin, and I think a lot of you felt the same way. Would have taken Lane Kiffin. But you got somebody who actually wanted to be here. You didn't see him as someone who was going to leave the way we looked at Lane Kiffin. Of course, Lane, that's a whole different subject about what happened between Hunter and Ole Miss and whatever, yada, yada. And then Pittman, he's fallen flat on his face. And so there's already pressure on Hunter Yurachek with keeping him. And anywhere else there would be, by the way. I'm so tired of seeing this comment. Our fans, look at our fans. Our fans. Blah, 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 blah. Listen, bro, that's everywhere. That's all fans. That's especially in the SEC. Wake up. Stop looking at everything through the lens of a fan and understand. Take a look from almost like you're an outsider looking in. This is everywhere. Not even in just the SEC. You should have seen, I know some Oklahoma fans, you should have seen how they handled the Lincoln Riley stuff and who they have over there now and this whole move to the SEC. Yeah. I mean, this is everywhere. Our fans are going to run off another. No, listen, coaches know this. They know that fans are fanatics. You've got the good fanatics who are just die hard. They're ride or die no matter what through thick and thin. And you've got your crazies, the real fanatics, the people who come on to YouTube videos and scream and yell into a microphone. But I mean, that's just sports. I don't know that you have the same reaction in golf or tennis or curling or water polo, but in the three major sports in college athletics, on the men's side, football, basketball, and baseball, with in this day and age with social media, it's amplified times 1,000. And it's important to not give in to all of that, right? And I think Hunter's done a good job of navigating some of that. I have been critical of how he's handled NIL, and that could be a bugaboo. That could be something if they don't get it turned around and we keep hearing the same thing about how they're just losing out on NIL. And if it's true that Musselman, it has nothing to do with the schools, it has everything to do with the NIL. If that turns out to be accurate, oh my God. Imagine if Musselman takes a job somewhere and they ask him straight up, someone probably will, why did you leave Arkansas? Despite having one really bad year, why did you leave? You had really good recruiting classes, really good, you had top 10, top 5 transfer classes. Why'd you leave? And if he comes out and says anything hinting at NIL not being where it should be, Hunter Yurachek is going to – the whole NIL program, Hunter Yurachek, it'll be rough. I'll just say that. And I'm not saying that it should be. I'm not condoning that, any kind of, overreaction by fans on Twitter, but it will. It'll happen. And I'm sure Hunter's very well aware of that. Hunter strikes me as a very intelligent guy, and he's going to do the best he can to navigate these waters. But it's about to get dicey, and how he handles all of this is very important. I want Hunter here. I do. I want him here. I like Hunter Yurachek. Even though one day at practice he saw me I was wearing my Adidas slides. I wear my slides. They're so comfortable. I was at practice. I had these slides on. Okay. I had these on, and I saw him walk by me, and he kind of looked down at my slides, and he was probably like, why is this guy in slides? It was good weather. It was good slides wearing weather, okay? I'm there to do a job. I'm not dressing to impress anybody. I'm there to do a job. Oh, man. Or maybe he saw something on the ground, and I'm just being a little defensive. I don't know. But, yeah, I think Hunter, I want him here. I do. I want Hunter here. I like the job that he has done. It's just in the last couple of years, and obviously the NIL stuff, it does seem like Arkansas's a little bit behind. So, let's get to the comment section here. Yours too. I'm talking about Muss post-game interview thumbnails. Oh, okay. All right. I see what you're saying. I like Musselman and hope he returns, but his coaching stock has fallen this year. It has some, Jay, but I think most people understand the portal era is you just can't judge a coach off a single year. And that includes one really great year. The difference is he's had 3 really good March runs that whatever unfolds this season, which I think we all have a pretty good idea of, whatever unfolds, this year does not scratch what he did the 3 previous seasons. It doesn't, remove those. But, yeah, I do agree. I think his coaching stock did take a little bit of a hit. And that also makes you wonder, and I said if by late February we haven't heard anything about an extension, we're in March now, and we're not hearing anything about an extension. Yeah, I'm very concerned he's not returning. But it makes you wonder how they manage his extension. And you don't want to overpay if the last 2 years in conference play, this might be something you have to deal with. I don't know. Maybe Hunter feels like, you know what, we can go and get Beard. I don't know. Other thing is his 5-year window at places. Oh, you're talking about Musselman. Okay. Something came to my mind as a parent, daughter 8th grade, starting new school regardless. So change is coming as far as his family makes the move easier. Fanatical fanatic, says Jason Fountain. Isn't that the truth, man? Isn't that the truth? I wouldn't want to be – I would love Hunter's pay. I would love Hunter Yurachek's pay. I wouldn't want to be the decisions he's got to make, these are very tough. I mean, he has a very tall order in front of him. All right. 247. Well, Brad Crawford put out his pre-spring predictions for all of the SEC in 2024. You can go follow him on Twitter. I think it's at probably Brad Crawford. I don't know. Just type in Brad Crawford. You'll find him. He's on 247, as you guys know. The title reads SEC Football Predictions, Way Too Early, Order of Finish. Final records for 2024. So let me start off at the very top. He believes, and again, this is pre-spring final record prediction. A couple of these are a little bit surprising. He has Texas going 11-1, finishing 7-1 in conference, 3-way tie for first. I'm not going to read all of his. You can go, I'll probably leave the link somewhere. You can go read for yourself. But he's got Texas finishing at 11-1 along with Georgia. Now, that's not too surprising. I would probably put Texas at about 10-2. I don't know. I mean, I'm not a fan of way too earlys. It's just tough. But I think 11-1 is doable for Texas. But, Georgia certainly. I know they've got some change coming, but the Georgia Bulldogs 11-1, 7-1 conference. That's pretty good. Now he's got Ole Miss at 11-1, 7-1 in conference. I know their schedule. I don't know. I don't know if they can have another type of year that they had this year. LSU, he's got it 10-2, 6-2 in conference play. Alabama, he has it 10-2, 6-2 conference play. He's got A&M at 9-3, 6-2 conference. I'm not going to go through their schedules. Here's one that's a little bit surprising. Missouri, who's on this upwards trend, he's actually got them at 9-3. I figured everyone would have them at like 10-2, but they're 5-3 in conference. They're not one of these teams. It's like we're playoff or bust. That's not who Mizzou is. They had one really great year. Listen, if you win 8 or 9 games this next year, that should be a plus if you're Mizzou. But he's got them at 5-3 conference wins. Tennessee's got it 9-3, 5-3 conference record, I should say. Oklahoma, Brad has them at 7-5 with a 3-5 conference finish. Auburn the same, 7-5, 3-5 conference. Florida, despite having a brutal schedule, he thinks they can muster 6 wins with a 3-5 conference record. I don't know. We'll see, bro. That's one to me that's, I don't know, 6-6 feels like a safe bet. I don't know that I could put him there. Kentucky, he has it 3-5 in conference, 7-5 overall. South Carolina, 5-7, 2-6 overall in conference. Sorry, in conference. 4-8 for Mississippi State, 1-7. But he's got Arkansas at 5-7 with a 1-7 conference. That's he's got them at the bottom of the conference, just above Vanderbilt, who he's got going 0-8 in SEC play, 3-9 overall record. Here's what he says about Arkansas. Why he's putting them here. This is not the schedule you want if you're a coach on the hot seat. But Sam Pittman is used to glancing at his slate of every offseason and tossing it back in the trash. This is life at Arkansas. That hurts because it's true. The Razorbacks always face an arsenal of games ranked inside every difficulty projections top 10. Not only will Arkansas play Oklahoma State on the road, out of conference, but we're expecting 6 of the program's 8 SEC opponents to be ranked, including Ole Miss, Texas, LSU, and Tennessee. It's really hard to argue with this. And again, I'm not going to tell you where I'm at because it's just not. I want to at least get a glimpse of the Razorbacks before I. Even if it's just spring, and we know after spring you may not have all the same personnel, coaching or players, but you have UAPB at Oklahoma State, UAB, so you've got right there your first 2 games are basically on the road. UAPB is going to be in Little Rock. UAB, your first Fayetteville game is September 14th. And then you're on the road against Auburn on the 21st, A&M on the 28th down in Arlington. You got Tennessee coming to town, LSU coming to town. Then you're on the road to Starkville to take on Mississippi State, Ole Miss in Fayetteville, Texas in Fayetteville. Boy, that's a really cool thing to think about. You got Ole Miss at home, and then you turn around and you have Texas at home. It'd be something else if Arkansas was good. If they were surprising people, by the time November 2nd rolls around, you got Ole Miss coming to town, and then you have Texas the following week. Or not the following week. You've got a bye week after November 2nd. But you take on Texas November 16th, Louisiana Tech on the 23rd in Fayetteville, and then you're at Missouri in Columbia. So he believes Arkansas's. What I say is, let me go back to that. Hang on. 1-7 conference, 5-7 overall record. So that tells me he thinks Arkansas is going to beat Oklahoma State. I don't know. What do you guys think? What do you think of that? You pay must before you build stupid boxes. I agree with that. I agree with that 100% camo. 7 ranked preseason opponents on our schedule. Yikes. First game, the O-Stalls. Bobby Hype will die. Then what? Why is Vandy in the SEC? Says J-Dog. They have to rank someone low. Arkansas tends to be the easy pick every offseason. Well, but it's not coming from nowhere, though, Boss Hog. It's not coming from nowhere. They are on a downwards trend. You don't feel – I don't know what to think of Green, and I don't know what to think about what's going on at quarterback yet. And to be honest with you, I'm going to have some takes on the quarterback situation, but I don't know how much we learned from spring or even fall camp for that matter, unless someone's just tearing it up. But even then, it doesn't matter. You remember the receivers last fall camp? Myself and everyone else that was at practice. Holy crap, these wideouts are talented. Now, at the end of the day, I don't think that what happened and what unfolded last year was on the receivers. It was obviously it all started up front of the line of scrimmage. But still, numbers show this. Video evidence shows us this. Even when KJ, the rare times he had a clean pocket, receivers were not creating separations. Creating separation. The guys on the broadcast would say the same thing. These receivers are not getting open. But again, it's not like they had very many of those opportunities. So I don't put what happened last year on the receivers necessarily as much as I do, anywhere near as much as I do the offensive line. Quarterback play absolutely struggled. I go back to the communication part of it. Maybe they can get that all corrected in a single offseason, though. I don't know. Not a lot of big changes at wide receiver. You had a lot of changes up front of the line of scrimmage. You had some big changes in the backfield. Quarterbacks, the running backs, you had some big changes here. Tight ends are coming back so far. I always say that because, again, post-spring, you never know what's going to happen. A lot of big changes on both sides of the ball. You talk about the linebacker room. I'm having fun with that now. But, yeah. It's not coming from nowhere. It's not like, we got to put someone at the bottom. We're going to put Arkansas there. I don't think that's – I've read some of Brad's stuff, and I've read what he said on Twitter, and I think he makes some pretty good points. And I think he comes to the conclusions that he comes to for a reason. And you're right, though. It is easy to put Arkansas and Vanderbilt, Mississippi State at the bottom. South Carolina, who definitely, if you ask their fans, they wildly underperformed. Let's see. I think Bobby will light a fire under their team's ass. Seems like last season there was a lack of effort or fight, even in close games. I don't see Bobby accepting that. I think early on they had a lot of fight, but you talk about that like Mississippi State game, and then you have the game against Florida, and then you do it again. You disappear and you vanish against Mizzou. It's just very odd. Please just beat Tennessee. I have to live in Knoxville and can't stand losing to Oh, man. I think if anybody could attest to this, it's you, J-Dog. Tennessee is a natural, more organic rivalry than Mizzou. Do you agree with me on that, Jay? I don't mean to bring this back up. I just hate the fact that you have to play them every year. I don't like it. Not because they've beaten Arkansas. I don't like that they're a rival anywhere. A rival anywhere, baseball, basketball, or football. Get rid of it. Get rid of it. Let them be rivals with someone else. Give us Tennessee. Watch out for that Track Natty indoor event. You've been carrying on about that, Camo. I saw that. Event is must-see event on campus. Don't know about outdoor yet. I don't follow track, but yeah, it's too bad I don't. It's too bad there's not a larger audience for it. There's just not. Yeah, track is, of course, killing it. If Battle could score 60, they might have a chance, says Bot Magnet. Woo Pig Pod, what's going on, fellas? Hogs will have a winning record this year. Ooh. Okay, I see you. All right, I do appreciate you guys stopping by. Again, make sure you like, share, subscribe if you're new here. Consider joining Patreon. It helps out small channels, and that's why Patreon exists. Well, there's a number of reasons why Patreon exists, but to help show a little support towards this channel, check out Patreon, Let's Talk with Ty, Patreon. And then, of course, if you're not in there yet, go check out what Discord's all about. Listen, it's a free download, okay? It doesn't cost you any money. That's where the Patreon stuff typically happens. It's in Discord, but you have to be a Patreon member to have access to the Patreon stuff. So, yeah, I do appreciate you guys. Shout out to all the current Patreon supporters, all you guys who came through, Camo and Boss Hog and J-Dog, Woo Pig Pod, Bot Magnet. Appreciate you guys. And for those of you who shared the content across the socials also, I appreciate you. I will be back tomorrow for the post-game show. Baseball, I think Arkansas sweeps this weekend. I think they got a tough opponent. I think these guys might be tough, but you know what? With this pitching, who knows? Who knows what happens and what goes down. Arkansas hitting. Let's see if they can carry what they did midweek into this weekend. All right, I will see you guys tomorrow. Enjoy your Friday. Thank God it's Friday. Thank you, God. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Be good.